Imagine waking up to the sound of children laughing outside your window. Except the children are not human. The window is bulletproof glass. And the sign above your bed reads, Plains Ape, Earth Variant, handle with curiosity. You sit up, heart pounding, and watch a family of tourists press their faces against the barrier while a guide explains how your species once ruled an entire planet before it was deemed too reckless to roam unsupervised. Your old life is gone. Your city is gone. Even your privacy is gone. Your breakfast arrives through a slot in the wall. Your neighborhood has been rebuilt as a habitat. Your daily routine is now part of an educational experience. And the most disturbing part is not that aliens defeated us. It is that they think they are helping. So here is the nightmare question. If a smarter species looked at humanity and decided we were too violent, too unstable, and too dangerous to be free, would a cage become evil if it was also comfortable? We like to imagine first contact as a handshake, a war, or a glorious exchange of technology. But real power does not always announce itself with explosions. Sometimes it arrives with paperwork. A civilization advanced enough to cross the stars would not need to invade us the way one ancient empire invaded another. To them, our missiles would be museum pieces. Our internet would be a nervous system they could read in seconds. Our politics would look like apes fighting over a steering wheel in a moving car. And if they had watched us long enough, they might not see humanity as a promising equal. They might see a brilliant animal with a catastrophic talent for self-destruction. We already do this on Earth. When a species becomes dangerous to itself, we relocate it, isolate it, breed it under supervision, and tell ourselves it is mercy. Now, flip the camera. Put humans inside the enclosure. The takeover would begin without drama, because drama is for equals. One morning, every satellite feed cuts to black. Every launch code fails. Every military base loses contact with its own machines. Then the message appears everywhere at once, translated perfectly into every language on Earth. Human civilization is entering protected observation status. Stay calm. Resistance will result in neurological sedation. That sentence alone would shatter the planet. Presidents would declare emergencies they could not enforce. Generals would bark orders into dead systems. Billionaires would try to buy influence from beings that can move moons. And ordinary people would do what ordinary people always do when the ground disappears beneath them. They would run home, call loved ones, cry in supermarkets, pray in parking lots, and refresh their phones for answers that never come. By nightfall, we would realize something even worse than defeat. The aliens had not come to kill us. They had come to manage us. And once the panic settles, the redesign starts. Borders become historical decorations. Nations still exist on paper, like labels in an old exhibit. But real authority now belongs to the intelligence above the sky. Cities are reorganized into habitats based on density, climate, language, and behavior. Coastal habitat, agricultural habitat, heritage habitat, high-stimulation urban habitat, low-conflict family habitat. The aliens preserve enough of our world to keep it recognizable, but not enough to keep it free. They remove nuclear arsenals, bioweapons, and heavy industry first. Then they regulate movement, speech networks, reproduction licenses, and access to machine learning systems. Not because they are cruel, because they are methodical. They would study every variable that ever pushed humans toward war, collapse, extremism, and ecological ruin, then quietly lock those variables behind doors we can no longer open. Crime drops, pollution drops, hunger drops. So do elections. So does privacy. So does the illusion that history belongs to us. At first, some humans would celebrate. No more invasions, no more famines, no more corrupt leaders screaming on television while forests burn and coastlines drown. For millions, alien rule would feel less like occupation and more like relief. That is what makes this scenario so unsettling. A cage is easier to accept when your old freedom was mostly bills, fear, propaganda, and bad air. Hospitals improve overnight because disease prediction becomes trivial. Energy becomes clean because scarcity becomes optional. Weather disasters are contained before landfall. Entire regions once trapped in poverty suddenly become stable, fed, and safe. The aliens do not need to win our love. They only need to outperform our chaos. And once comfort arrives, resistance gets complicated. Because now, rebellion is not just a fight against domination. It is a fight against the system that cured your mother, cleaned your river, and stopped your country from being bombed. Then the truly strange part begins. Humanity turns captivity into culture. Schools teach children the era before containment, the way we teach kids about ancient empires. Fascinating, violent, and impossibly distant. Museums display passports, assault rifles, campaign ads, and plastic grocery bags like relics from a diseased age. New careers appear. Human behavior interpreter, interspecies etiquette coach, heritage performance consultant, grief therapist for displaced national identities. Influencers return too, because of course they do. Except now they make content about which habitat has the best food, how to act natural during observation hours, and whether alien enrichment programs are secretly manipulative. Some people become celebrities by acting extra human for the visitors. They cook old recipes, perform weddings, reenact road rage, recite poetry, and broadcast carefully packaged versions of our species, like we are both prisoners and brand ambassadors. The zoo does not erase capitalism. It mutates it. Of course, not everyone adapts politely. Underground movements form in maintenance tunnels, sewage routes, abandoned subway lines, and blind spots in the surveillance grid. Their goal is not always escape. Sometimes escape is impossible. Sometimes the point is simply to remain psychologically wild. They invent slang that translators struggle to parse. They write songs with double meanings. They pass down illegal memories, old maps, uncensored history, and forbidden skills, like unmonitored coding, weapon making, and silent coordination. Parents whisper to their kids that the sky used to belong to us. Grandparents tell stories about voting, road trips, black markets, and stupid, glorious chaos. Secret clubs gather just to make unpredictable art, because unpredictability becomes the last proof that humans are still human. The aliens, in response, do what every controlling system eventually does. They offer better food, better housing, more social privileges, and more freedom inside the exhibit to anyone willing to cooperate. And that is how resistance begins to fracture. Not under torture, under comfort. The deepest change would not happen in governments or infrastructure. It would happen inside the first generation born after the cages close. Those children would never experience a border checkpoint, a military draft, a polluted skyline, or a truly unobserved moment. They would grow up in clean habitats with safe streets, perfect medical care, and constant reminders that the old human world was a beautiful disaster. To them, freedom would sound like one of those exaggerated myths adults use to make their own youth feel epic. They would ask why anyone misses a time of war, famine, corruption, and collapsing oceans. They would fall in love under monitored skies and think nothing of it. They would laugh at resistance groups as cosplay revolutionaries chasing a romantic version of misery. And if enough generations pass, captivity stops feeling like captivity. It starts feeling like reality itself. The bars do not disappear. They become invisible. And then comes the final level of control, biology. A species that can cross interstellar space can almost certainly edit genes, redirect evolution, and design behavior over centuries. If humans remain under management long enough, The aliens would not just control what we do, they would start controlling what we are. Aggression could be softened, impulse control could be strengthened, curiosity could be amplified in some habitats and reduced in others. Lifespans might lengthen, disease might vanish. Even intelligence itself could be tuned, not to liberate us, but to make us healthier, calmer, more interesting, and easier to govern. Earth would heal. Forests would return, oceans would recover, extinction rates would collapse. From orbit, the planet would look like a miracle. But there is something terrifying about becoming a success story in someone else's conservation project. Because the moment your survival depends on another species deciding what version of you deserves to continue, freedom is no longer a right. It is a memory, curated by your keeper. So here is the question that lingers after the glass closes and the tourists go home. If the aliens end war, end hunger, end climate collapse, and still take away our right to choose, are they villains, saviors, or just a more honest version of us? And if survival means surrender, would you accept the cage or die trying to keep the gate open for the species' sake?